Hey everyone, and welcome back to Street Tales. We're diving deep tonight, leaving behind the city's hustle and bustle for a place where forgotten voices gently rise from the shadows. Get ready, because we're taking a journey far beyond the bright lights of today, all the way to the mist-shrouded moors of 1930s England. Imagine this: a grand manor shrouded in fog that travelers often give a wide berth to. It's called Ravenshire. Some folks whisper that the house itself breathes, a living, breathing entity. Others claim it remembers every secret, every joy, every sorrow held within its ancient walls. Tonight, we unravel the captivating story of midnight visitors of Ravenshire. Trust me, you'll want to dim those lights, maybe even double-check those door locks. Lean in close and let's listen, before the house starts listening back. It's going to be an unforgettable adventure. If you're enjoying this eerie journey, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next tale. Thanks for joining me on Street Tales. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love a good spooky tale to send shivers down your spine, you are in for a treat tonight. Grab a warm drink, dim the lights, and let's dive into a story that starts with a journey into the unknown. Picture this. It's 1931. The last train out of London is chugging its way north, disappearing into a thick, eerie fog. Inside, we meet Eleanor Whitcomb. She's clutching her valise, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm that matches the train wheels. She's headed to Ravenshire, a forgotten village nestled deep within the moors. Why? Because her late uncle has left her Ravenshire Manor. Sounds like a dream inheritance, right? But something about this letter, this whole situation, has given her an inexplicable chill. As the train grinds to a halt, the conductor calls out, "Ravenshire, halt! End of the line." Eleanor steps out, boots sinking into damp gravel. The air smells of peat and wet iron. No one is there. No porter, no carriage, just a rusted sign and the sound of wind whistling through pines. She checks her watch, 11:42. The solicitor said someone would meet her. But the station is deserted. Then, a faint creak. Through the mist, two lantern glows emerge, revealing a horse-drawn carriage. A tall, rigid driver, his face obscured by a hat, calls out, "Miss Whitcomb?" With a mix of relief and unease, Eleanor confirms it's her. He gives a curt nod, urging her into the carriage with a warning about the roads after midnight. The cracked leather seat is cold, and as they set off, the fog presses in, almost alive. Eleanor tries to make out the landscape, hedgerows, black trees, but the mist swallows everything. All she hears is the steady clip-clop of hooves and the wind's whisper. She asks how far the manor is. "Not far," the driver replies. "It sits above the moor, by the old churchyard." But there's a strange hesitation in his voice, maybe even fear. She notices his tight grip on the reins, his eyes darting towards the tree line. Once, she thinks she sees shadowy shapes moving swiftly between the trunks, low to the ground. "Are there wolves here?" she asks, trying to sound calm. "Not wolves, miss," he says, his knuckles white. "Best not to look too long into the woods." The fog thickens until she can barely see the driver. The horse snorts nervously, then stops dead. "Move," the driver hisses, but the horse refuses, trembling, backing away as if an unseen barrier blocks their path. Eleanor leans forward. "What is it?" The driver doesn't answer. His head slowly turns left. There, in the fog, stands a figure. Tall, motionless, its clothes in tatters, face unnaturally pale, eyes gleaming faintly, and in its long, skeletal hand, it holds a violin. The figure raises the bow. A single note fills the night. Soft, sweet, but utterly wrong. It vibrates deep in Eleanor's bones. The horse screams, bolts, and the carriage lurches, throwing Eleanor to the ground. Mud fills her palms. "Driver," she calls, but there's no answer. The mournful violin music continues. She stumbles toward it, but then it stops. Silence. Then the sound of something dragging through the dirt. The driver emerges, hat gone, face ashen, eyes wide and empty. "Run," he rasps. "Go back." Before she can react, a tall, thin shadow pulls him back into the fog. Eleanor screams and runs, branches tearing at her cloak, the wild, discordant violin music chasing her. She doesn't dare look back. Finally, she sees a light. A wrought iron gate groans open, leading to a great stone house, Ravenshire Manor. She pounds on the heavy door, and it creaks open. A woman in black, Mrs. Havers, the housekeeper, stands there, utterly calm. "Miss Whitcomb," she says, "you are late." Eleanor can barely speak. Someone, in the road. Mrs. Havers simply steps aside. "The fog isn't safe tonight." Eleanor steps inside. The door thuds shut. The manor exhales a cold breath. Damp stone, wax, something metallic. Portraits line the vast, dimly lit hall, their stern eyes seeming to follow her. The grandfather clock ticks like a heartbeat. Mrs. Havers tells her uncle died 3 nights ago and was buried yesterday. Then, a chilling warning. "Your room is prepared. If you hear anything in the night, do not leave your room. There are visitors who come after midnight. They are drawn to the house. It is best not to greet them." Before Eleanor can ask, Mrs. Havers disappears. Eleanor climbs the stairs. More portraits, each figure holding a violin. In her room, a fire burns, casting restless shadows. The events on the road replay in her mind. She draws the curtains, but the fog is so thick she only sees her pale reflection. Then, a sound. A violin. The same melody, faint but clear. Her heart pounds. She leans closer to the glass. A figure in torn clothes stands in the mist outside the gate, holding a violin. As she watches, trembling, it lifts the bow. The music begins again, low and mournful. But this time, a terrifying realization hits her. The melody isn't coming from outside. It's coming from the hall, just beyond her door. What do you think will happen to Eleanor? Will she survive her first night at Ravenshire Manor? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, please hit that like button, subscribe for more spooky stories, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the unknown. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there. Or not, we'll see you in the next one. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love a good chilling tale that makes the hairs on your arms stand up, then you are in for a treat today. We're diving into the mystery of Ravenshire Manor, a place where music isn't just entertainment. It's a terrifying invitation. Imagine this. Eleanor Whitcomb, new to the old manor, hears a haunting violin tune. It's mournful, sweet, and unbelievably close. She freezes, every muscle rigid, convinced it's coming from inside the house. Then silence, followed by faint shuffling footsteps that pass her door and retreat. She tries to convince herself it's just the wind, or her nerves. But then she notices something impossible. A second portrait of a man with a violin has appeared in the dimly lit room. She whispers, "I'm imagining things." But the faintest flicker crosses the painting, a tiny shimmer along the violin strings. Spooky, right? The night takes a turn when 3 slow, deliberate knocks come at her door. It's Mrs. Havers, the housekeeper, with a chilling warning. Do not open the door. Not until morning. Whatever you hear, whatever you see, do not open it. Then a man's voice, distant but clear, humming the very same violin tune. What is going on in this house? Morning arrives, gray and damp. Mrs. Havers reveals the truth. They come every night after the clock strikes 12. They knock, they play, they whisper. And if one answers them, they do not see the morning. These visitors come for those who bear the Whitcomb name, a curse that follows the family. Eleanor's uncle didn't listen, nor did the maids. That's why only 2 of them remain. The curse, she says, waits. Determined to understand, Eleanor sneaks into the forbidden East Wing. There, she finds her uncle's study and a violin case. Inside, A violin unlike any other, dark as blood, with strings that look faintly corroded. Beside it, her uncle's journal pages. They come to the sound. It calls them. The music is not of this world. It is their tongue, and each note invites them closer. He tried to silence them, but it only angered them. As she reads, she sees a faint shape in the shadows, a man half-formed from mist, watching her. He tilts his head as if listening. A door slams, and Eleanor flees. Back in the main hall, Mrs. Havers is furious. "Foolish girl, you should have left it buried." The housekeeper reveals the horrific truth. The first Whitcomb made a pact for fame and music, but he summoned something hungry. They played for him, and then they played him. Every generation since has heard their music, coming to finish the song he began. Suddenly, the clock strikes midnight, hours too early. The violin begins to play again, from the east wing, louder, fuller than before. "It's awake now," Mrs. Havers whispers. "You've woken it." But Eleanor bravely grabs a candle. Then we end it. In the study, the violin floats, playing on its own. Eleanor screams, "Stop!" The melody changes, becoming urgent, angry. Pages swirl around her. In a cracked mirror she sees her reflection, but behind it dozens of pale figures, one stepping forward. Its face her uncle's. "Eleanor, finish what I began." The violin crashes, strings snapping. Silence. Mrs. Havers appears relieved. It's never stopped before. Eleanor hopes it's over. But outside, the fog thickens, and faintly, impossibly, comes the sound of applause. Dozens of hands clapping in the dark. What an ending! This story really gets under your skin, doesn't it? The idea of a curse passed down through generations, and music that calls forth something terrifying, gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. What do you think happened next at Ravenshire Manor? Did Eleanor truly end the curse or just momentarily quiet it? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling tale, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more stories, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our next adventure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love a good spine-tingling mystery, you are in for a treat today. We're diving into a story that's got all the classic Gothic vibes, haunted houses, chilling secrets, and a family legacy that just won't stay buried. You know, the kind of tale that makes you want to keep all the lights on? Yeah, that one. So, grab a warm drink, maybe a blanket, and let's get spooky. Our story begins with Eleanor, waking up in a grand but eerily silent manor. The kind of silence where even the clocks have given up ticking. Outside, a thick, writhing fog presses against the windows, and inside, Eleanor can't shake the feeling she's being watched. Little flickers at the edge of her vision, ripples in a teapot reflection. But nothing's ever there when she turns. Creepy, right? Then Mrs. Havers, the housekeeper, appears out of nowhere, urging Eleanor to eat. But Eleanor can't. Not after last night. "The silence worries me more," Mrs. Havers whispers. "They never sleep after being roused." Eleanor asks, "They?" And that's when it gets even more unsettling. Mrs. Havers says, "The ones you heard playing. When they rest, it means they are listening. For you, child, the song isn't finished." Chills, people. Absolute chills. Mrs. Havers then draws the curtains, revealing gravestones just beyond the garden, half swallowed by weeds. The churchyard. She admits she buried Eleanor's uncle herself, but his grave has been disturbed twice. The ground moves on its own some nights. Eleanor, bravely, or perhaps foolishly, decides she needs to see it, but Mrs. Havers forbids it, warning, "The fog is thick with them." Demanding answers, Eleanor insists Mrs. Havers show her what the house hides, and the old woman, after a moment of hesitation, nods toward a sealed arched doorway upstairs, a brass plaque above it reading, "Portrait Hall." Her uncle had locked it after the first incident, claiming the eyes would follow him. Eleanor, ever the curious protagonist, lifts the latch. The hinges groan, and a wave of cold air washes over her. Inside, the hall is lined with towering portraits of the Whitcomb family, their painted eyes seeming to follow Eleanor's every move. Then she spots one covered by a torn black veil, Sir Alaric Whitcomb, the first master, the one who made the pact. Mrs. Havers warns that the veil must never be lifted. The painting breathes when moonlight touches it, but Eleanor, driven by that irresistible curiosity, brushes the veil aside. What she sees takes her breath away. Sir Alaric, his eyes black as ink, a faint smile holding a bow and an unreadable music scroll. Behind him, shadowed figures, violinists, seem to stir. Mrs. Havers yanks the veil back, hissing, "Do not feed it your gaze." When Eleanor asks what happens if she does, the answer is simple, terrifying. They remember you. Later that night, the fog is thicker than ever, pressing against the windows like a living sea. Eleanor, reading her uncle's journal by candlelight, finds a chilling entry. The portraits are not mere likenesses. They are vessels. The souls of those who played the song live within the paint. When the final verse is heard, the painted shall walk. Just then, a faint, distant bow across strings echoes through the house. It's coming from above. Eleanor follows the melody back to the portrait hall. The latch is loose. She pushes the door open and cold air pours out. The portraits glow faintly, their surfaces rippling like disturbed water. The music weaves through the air, and then one portrait blinks. A woman in a painting turns her head, eyes following Eleanor. Then another. The entire hall comes alive. Eleanor whispers for them to stop watching, but the melody deepens, joined by a low humming from the walls. The door slams shut behind her, the handle refusing to budge. One by one, the painted figures begin to reach beyond their frames, fingers of cracked oil and pigment stretching towards her. The song grows frantic. "Alaric," a voice whispers, "finish the symphony." "I'm not him," Eleanor cries, but the hall doesn't care. The portraits strain further, mouths opening soundlessly, releasing ribbons of dust and pigment. A cold, painted hand brushes her cheek. Then, silence. Just as all hope seems lost, a door flies open, flooding the hall with light. Mrs. Havers stands there, crucifix and lantern in hand. "Get away from them." Eleanor stumbles out, gasping for air. The hall instantly falls still, the portraits frozen. Mrs. Havers slams the door shut. "You see now," she whispers. "The house remembers. It has no walls between the living and the painted." Eleanor, shaken, asks what they want. "The same thing they've always wanted," Mrs. Havers replies. "For the song to be finished. For the door to open." Eleanor asks, "What door?" And Mrs. Havers points to the ceiling, "The one beneath the house." The next day is oppressively quiet. Eleanor searches her uncle's library and finally finds a reference to a vault beneath the chapel, sealed by the first master. She confronts Mrs. Havers, who confirms it. It's where they keep what remains of him, Sir Alaric, with the unfinished score. Eleanor declares she'll destroy it, but Mrs. Havers grimly warns, "You cannot destroy a song that isn't written on paper. It's written in blood." The house trembles. "Midnight comes early again," Mrs. Havers whispers. They're impatient now. At exactly 11, the grandfather clock strikes 12. Eleanor, lantern in hand, makes her way to the chapel, the fog coiling along the floor. Inside, a stained glass window shows a man playing a violin to angels that look like mourners. Behind the altar, she finds a trap door. Prying it open, cold air, smelling of earth and decay, rises from below. She descends into a narrow, brick-lined vault. At the far end, a black wooden coffin holds a bundle of parchment tied with a faded red ribbon, the score. As she reaches out, a clear note rings through the vault. The parchment quivers. She tears the ribbon away, and the pages flutter open, revealing strange, pulsing symbols. From the coffin, a whisper. "Play it, Eleanor." She stumbles back. "No!" The coffin lid shudders, and the whisper turns to a command. "Finish it." The church bell begins to toll. The vault trembles. The lantern goes out. In the darkness, the sound of hundreds of strings tuning themselves. Eleanor flees, clutching the score. She bursts into the chapel, the stained glass window now glowing crimson, the painted angels weeping blood. She runs through corridors. A subtle, eerie, but not overly frightening intro music starts and then fades slightly into the background. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into a tale that will make the hair on your arms stand up. This isn't just any ghost story. It's a journey into a chilling mystery, where ancient secrets refuse to stay buried. Are you ready? Let's plunge into the eerie depths of Ravenshire Manor. Imagine this. You wake up to a reluctant morning light, a thick, soupy mist clinging to everything outside. Ravenshire Manor itself seems to melt into the fog, a spectral silhouette. And then you hear it, a bell, faint, rhythmic, coming from somewhere below the earth. No church for miles around, yet this bell tolls, threading its way through your half-dreaming mind. That's exactly what happened to Eleanor. 3 slow, distinct notes, then silence. Chilling, right? She rushed out, heart pounding, nearly bumping into the housekeeper, Mrs. Havers. Eleanor, trembling, asked, "You heard it too, didn't you?" Mrs. Havers, with a tight, knowing expression, just muttered, "You'll hear many things in this house, miss. Best not to go listening too close. Stay above ground, for your own good." Talk about cryptic warnings. Eleanor, naturally, couldn't just let it go. She found Dr. Ambrose in the library, surrounded by old, yellowed journals. When she told him about the bell, his pale eyes narrowed. "Ah, the bell of Ravenshire," he said softly. "So it rings again." He explained a chilling legend. A church, older than the manor, buried beneath the estate after a plague centuries ago. The bell? It rings when something's been disturbed. And when Eleanor asked what could possibly disturb it now, he gave her a strange look and whispered, "Perhaps we have guests who are not content to remain buried." Goosebumps, anyone? The fog that day just got thicker, like a living, breathing entity. From an upper hall, Eleanor saw 2 figures dressed in old mourning clothes near the family cemetery. She called out, but they vanished. She had to investigate, didn't she? The fog tasted of iron and decay as she approached the cemetery gate. And there it was. The heavy stone door of the mausoleum, sealed for decades, stood ajar. With a low groan, like a centuries-old exhale, the door opened further. Inside, cold and dry, her lantern cast dancing shadows across 6 coffins arranged in a perfect circle. Dust lay thick, untouched, and then her light flickered. A tall figure, dressed in black, face hidden by a veil, stood in the corner. "Who's there?" Eleanor whispered. The figure tilted its head, and from beneath the veil came the soft, familiar tolling of the bell. 3 slow notes. Eleanor stumbled back, the sound vibrating through her very bones. In a blink, the figure was gone, leaving only a silence as thick as the dark. She fled, gasping for breath, to find Dr. Ambrose waiting for her. "You went in," he stated flatly. "I saw someone," she cried. "A woman in black, ringing the bell." Ambrose's eyes darkened. "The mourning bell of the Lady of Ravenshire," he murmured. "She walks when the family's sins claw their way to the surface." Sins? What sins? Ambrose's grim smile was all the answer she got. Every stone in this manor is an apology for something. That night, the bell returned. This time it vibrated through her floorboards, rattling her mirror. Pressing her ear to the wood, she heard it. A woman's soft weeping. She followed the sound down the grand staircase toward the cellars. The air grew colder, heavier. A door she'd never seen before stood ajar, flickering with faint candlelight. Inside, a stone passage led deeper underground, walls damp, carved with strange symbols. The weeping grew louder. She turned a corner and froze. A vaulted chamber, figures in tattered robes, veiled faces, standing around an old chained coffin. And in the center, the woman from the mausoleum, holding a bell of blackened silver. She lifted her head. Eleanor saw her face, pale, half-decayed, lips moving in silent prayer. Before Eleanor could scream, Ambrose's hand clamped down on her shoulder. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered fiercely. "Who are they?" she breathed. "The descendants," he said. "Those who still serve the old covenant of Ravenshire. They call the dead to remember." The bell rang again, slow and mournful. The air trembled, and the coffin's lid shifted. A thin, skeletal hand, slick with soil, broke through the wood. Eleanor stumbled back, her candle sputtering out. The last thing she saw was Ambrose's face, lit by the bell's dim glow, an expression not of fear, but reverence. Then, darkness. She awoke back in her bed, morning light filtering through the lingering fog. The house was still. But on her nightstand, a small blackened silver bell lay, its handle carved with the crest of Ravenshire. She touched it. It rang a single, perfect note. And from beneath the floor, she heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, impossibly near. What do you think happened to Eleanor? What ancient sins haunt Ravenshire Manor? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this spine-tingling tale, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more thrilling content. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to share our next adventure with you. Thanks for watching, and stay spooky. An atmospheric, slightly unsettling intro plays. Hey there, brave souls and mystery lovers. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into a chilling tale that will have you checking over your shoulder long after the video ends. Imagine waking up in a manor where the morning light feels sick, and a mysterious silver bell on your nightstand is faintly warm, as if it was just held by unseen hands. That's exactly where Eleanor finds herself. She senses this bell is crucial, so she hides it away, knowing that in Ravenshire, leaving things behind can be far more dangerous. The house itself seems to be watching her, holding its breath. The great hall clock ticks ominously, marking time in a silence that feels heavier than usual. No one else is stirring. Not Mrs. Havers, not Dr. Ambrose, not even the servants. It's just Eleanor in the house. Then she discovers something impossible. The doors to the east wing, usually sealed, are unlatched. They lead to the portrait gallery, a long corridor filled with the unblinking eyes of Ravenshire's ancestors. The air is thick with age and an unsettling stillness, and that's when things take a truly terrifying turn. Among the painted faces, she finds Lady Agatha Ravenshire, 1792, the very face she'd seen in the mausoleum. But this isn't just a painting. As Eleanor gets closer, the glass covering the portrait fogs, as if the painting itself is breathing. Then the house creaks, and Eleanor turns back to find every single portrait in the corridor now facing her. Their painted eyes follow her, a synchronized, silent gaze. Her candle flickers wildly, and she calls out for Dr. Ambrose, for Mrs. Havers, but only echoes answer. And then one of the painted figures in a crimson waistcoat seems to ripple, to lean forward, revealing teeth too sharp to be merely paint. The air fills with the smell of burning linen, and the portraits begin to weep, dark pigment streaking down like fresh ink. Eleanor runs, the corridor stretching impossibly before her, her own footsteps doubled as if someone runs beside her. The mysterious bell in her pocket begins to pulse, a faint, steady heartbeat. She crashes into Dr. Ambrose in the central hall, gasping about the living, breathing paintings. He catches her, his grip cold, and his words are even colder. They remember. Ravenshire does not forget its own. He reveals that he was sent here, not to deny but to record. And the bell? It binds more than she understands. Every Ravenshire heir is buried with one, so they might ring for deliverance if the earth rejects them. Eleanor shouldn't have answered. A shattering crash from upstairs rips through the manor. A window is blown inward, and there, amidst the swirling papers, stands Lady Agatha herself, her black veil fluttering. "You have woken us," she whispers. Eleanor demands to know what she wants, and Agatha's chilling reply sends shivers down your spine, to finish what was never buried. The floorboards tremble. Black water seeps from the cracks, smelling of rot and grave soil. Agatha raises a translucent hand, and the portraits below begin to hum, a broken hymn that makes the chandeliers sway. Dr. Ambrose tries to fight her off with Latin incantations, and she shrieks, dissipating into black mist. But she's not gone. Ambrose collapses, explaining that Agatha guards something beneath the manor, the last will of the Ravenshire line, and the confession of what they buried alive beneath the chapel. The storm breaks outside, trapping Eleanor within the house. The doors are fused shut. And the portraits? They whisper her name. "Eleanor, bring us home." A dark, thick rain begins to fall inside the manor itself, and from somewhere deep below, the bell tolls. 3 slow, patient notes. Lady Agatha's voice returns, gentle now, almost kind. "Come below, child. The truth is waiting." And against her will, Eleanor's feet move, drawn deeper into the chilling secrets of Ravenshire. What do you think Eleanor will discover beneath the chapel? What unspeakable truth lies buried? This story is just getting started, and trust me, you don't want to miss a single terrifying twist. If you loved this deep dive into Ravenshire's dark secrets, hit that like button, subscribe for more spine-tingling tales, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let me know in the comments what you think is truly happening in this haunted manor. Until next time, stay spooky and sleep with the lights on. A dramatic, mysterious intro music fades out. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Get ready, because today we were diving into a story that will send shivers down your spine and keep you guessing until the very last drop of rain falls. Imagine a house, ancient and sprawling, where a storm rages not just outside, but within its very walls. This isn't just a tale, it's an experience. So grab a cozy blanket, maybe a cup of tea, and let's journey into the heart of Ravenshire Manor. The rain hammered down, relentless. It wasn't just hitting the roof, it was pouring through the ceilings, turning the grand halls of Ravenshire into rushing rivers. Paintings bled their colors, candlelight flickered and died. Our protagonist, Eleanor, moved through this watery chaos like a phantom, her hair plastered to her face, her dress heavy with moisture. But she wasn't lost. A faint hum, a vibration from a silver bell in her pocket guided her. It felt alive, alert, pulling her deeper into the flooding house. Right behind her, Dr. Ambrose, grim and determined, tapped his cane against the wet stone. And then, a chilling voice from above. Mrs. Havers, clutching a faded rosary, croaked, "Don't go down there. The dead will not be kind." But Eleanor couldn't stop. A whisper, Lady Agatha's whisper, echoed in her mind like a second heartbeat. "Below, child, below." The basement steps seemed endless, water streaming down the walls, reflecting their flickering candlelight in eerie flashes. The air grew colder, each breath turning into a pale cloud. At the bottom, a heavy oak door appeared, carved with strange symbols, swollen with age. From beneath it, a faint golden light pulsed, and a muffled chanting sound seeped through the stone. Ambrose whispered, "This is the chapel. The Ravenshire crypt was built atop it." Eleanor touched the door. It was pulsing, slowly, rhythmically like a heartbeat. She pushed, and it creaked open, releasing air thick with ancient candle wax and mold. The chamber inside was vast and circular, walls lined with alcoves, each holding neatly arranged bones. Hundreds of skulls, their hollow eyes gleaming in the faint light, watched her enter. At the center, an altar covered in black velvet, topped by a cracked crucifix. Rain dripped from the ceiling onto the altar, each drop a chilling drumbeat. And there, kneeling before it, was the veiled figure of Lady Agatha Ravenshire, her gown soaked, her skin translucent. Around her, a half-dozen figures in black, faces obscured, hands clasped in silent prayer, the descendants of the old covenant. Ambrose trembled. "They've begun the rite," he breathed. Eleanor, her voice shaking, asked, "What rite?" "To awaken what sleeps beneath the chapel," he replied. "The final heir, the one buried alive to seal the curse." Lady Agatha's voice, like wind through reeds, drifted through the cavern. "The blood of Ravenshire must remember. One among us must open the door. You, child, the house chose you." Eleanor's heart pounded. "I'm not of your blood," she insisted. Agatha smiled faintly. "You are closer than you think." Ambrose lunged forward, desperation in his voice. "Stop this. The Ravenshire curse must remain buried, or it will devour what little remains of this family." Agatha rose, flickering between flesh and shadow. "You, Doctor, are not the guardian you pretend to be. You were sent to ensure the silence, not to protect the living." Ambrose's face went pale. "You know nothing of my charge." Agatha's voice was soft, but chilling. "Oh, I know. Your master still keeps his ledger in London. You write his reports in ink and in blood." Eleanor turned to him, stunned. "You've been spying?" He looked away, broken. "To contain the curse, yes. But the ministry wanted proof, a survivor's account. I thought you would be safe. I was wrong." Before Eleanor could react, the ground trembled. The altar cracked with a thunderous sound. The black velvet fell away, revealing a stone slab carved with a single name: Thomas Ravenshire. The final heir. Chains crisscrossed the tomb, each ending in a small silver bell, identical to Eleanor's. Lady Agatha raised her hand. "Ring the bell, child. Let him wake." As if pulled by invisible strings, Eleanor stepped forward. Her fingers closed around the bell in her pocket. It began to glow, humming with energy. "No," Ambrose screamed. "If he wakes, the manor dies." But Agatha's voice, joined by the chanting mourners, filled the chapel, growing into 1,000 overlapping whispers, all calling one name: Thomas, Thomas, Thomas. Eleanor's hand shook violently. She wanted to drop the bell, to flee, but her body wouldn't obey. Her heart and the bell beat in perfect rhythm. Then, through the chaos, a hand shot up from the crack in the altar. Pale, slick with mud, horrifyingly human. Eleanor screamed, stumbling back, and the bell slipped from her grasp, striking the stone floor. The sound it made was pure, terrible. The chains broke. The coffin lid burst apart, and a rush of air, cold, ancient, swept through the chamber, extinguishing every flame. The mourners vanished into mist. In the darkness, something crawled out of the tomb. Tall, skeletal, yet not entirely human. Its eyes glowed faintly blue beneath its hood. Its voice, like wind through a hollow pipe, spoke, "Who calls the blood to wake?" Eleanor couldn't answer. Her lips moved, but no sound came. The figure turned to her. Though she couldn't see its face, she felt its gaze pierce her soul. "You carry her voice," it said. "The blood runs still." Ambrose stepped between them, his voice trembling but firm. "You were not meant to rise again, Thomas. Your curse was the price of your sin." The creature's head tilted. "And yet, you still serve my house, physician. Even the living bend the knee." It moved forward, every step leaving a wet mark, though it didn't seem to touch the ground. Eleanor backed away, hitting the wall. The air grew heavy, crushing. Lady Agatha's voice rose again, pleading now. "Thomas, end it. Let the manor rest." The creature paused, its gaze flickering to her ghostly form. "You chained me, sister," it hissed. "You sealed me beneath your chapel, fed my soul to your guilt." A long silence stretched. Then the creature's hand lifted toward the ceiling. The rain above seemed to freeze mid-fall. "Then let the house drown," he whispered. The ground split open. Water gushed upward in violent torrents, flooding the chamber in seconds. Ambrose seized Eleanor's arm, pulling her toward the stairs. The current tore at their legs, icy and merciless. Behind them, Lady Agatha's scream filled. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that's as chilling as it is captivating. A tale of family secrets, ancient curses, and a house that refuses to forget. Grab your coziest blanket, because this one's going to send shivers down your spine. Imagine this. The morning after a devastating flood, everything is silent. Gray skies, endless moors, and Ravenshire Manor, broken but not defeated. Its windows shattered, roof torn, yet a faint tolling silver bell signals a lingering heartbeat. Eleanor stands in the main hall, the air thick with damp stone and smoke. Water drips from chandeliers, echoing through the emptiness. Dr. Ambrose, pale but alive, leans against the staircase, his eyes hollow. "The flood has passed," he whispers, "but the curse, it never ends so easily." Eleanor, turning the bell in her hand, asks, "Thomas is gone, and Agatha too. What's left to haunt this place?" Ambrose looks up at the gaping ceiling, a lone crow crying overhead. "Memory," he says. "Memory never leaves a house like this." The house groans in eerie agreement. They spend hours sifting through the ruins. Portraits faded, books unrecognizable. But then, in the east wing, Eleanor finds something impossible. A single door, untouched, its brass knob gleaming. She pushes it open. Inside, a small, pristine study she's never seen. On the desk, a black, leather-bound book, embossed with the Ravenshire crest. She wipes away the dust. The first page isn't a diary, it's a confession, written by Thomas Ravenshire, 1834. It reads, "For the blood that stains this house, I bear the blame. We sought to call upon the dead, not to mourn them, but to master them. Our prayers became commands, our bells, our chains. We buried our sins in the chapel and called it salvation. May all that is holy forgive what we made in pride." Her hands tremble as she turns the pages. The final entry, shaky and uneven. "If ever this bell is rung by one who is not of our line, the curse shall rise to find new blood. The house shall choose its heir." Eleanor closes the book slowly. She looks at the bell in her hand, and her stomach drops. A faint engraving, unnoticed until now, spells her own surname, Eleanor Ravenshire. Her mind reels. "No," she whispers. "No, that's impossible." Ambrose appears at the doorway, his face grim. "You found it." She holds out the bell. "You knew?" He nods. "The house recognized you long before I did. Your mother was the last living branch of the bloodline, though she fled and changed her name. I thought, foolishly, that perhaps the curse would die with her." Numb, Eleanor realizes. "Then I've been calling to them, my own family." Ambrose says softly, "Yes, and now the house belongs to you." A long silence, broken only by the soft drip of rain. Then, far below, the bell rings again. A solitary, mournful chime. Eleanor grips the desk. "He's not gone." Ambrose's voice trembles. "Thomas cannot die. He was never truly living." The walls shudder. Dust rains down. Footsteps echo from the lower halls. Slow, deliberate, familiar. Eleanor turns to the door. "He's coming back." The doctor's eyes widen. "We must leave, now." They flee down the corridor, floorboards creaking. The manor seems alive again, breathing, pulsing. Candles flare. Portraits whisper, their erased faces bleeding back into color. At the grand staircase, the air grows heavy. Eleanor looks up and sees him, Thomas Ravenshire, at the top of the stairs. No longer skeletal, but clothed in life. His face half shadow, half memory. His eyes burn with a calm, terrible light. "Blood of my blood," he says. "You have freed me, but the debt remains." Eleanor's heart pounds. "I don't want your curse. I didn't ask for this." Thomas descends slowly, each step a bell toll. No one asks for their blood. It calls, and you answer. You rang the bell. Now you must close it. "Close it?" she gasps. "How?" He gestures to the silver bell. One must give voice to silence. One must trade breath for stillness. That is the way of Ravenshire. Ambrose steps between them. "You can't ask that of her. She's not your prisoner." Thomas's gaze hardens. She is the heir. The house trembles. Outside, the storm returns. The air crackles. Eleanor's mind races. "If I ring it again," she whispers, "will it end?" Thomas nods. "But it will take something from you. The house demands a keeper." She looks at the crumbling manor, the whispering portraits, the ghosts. Maybe it had always waited for someone to stay. Ambrose grasps her wrist. "Don't. There must be another way." "There isn't," she says quietly. She steps forward, lifting the bell. Thomas's expression softens, almost proud. "Remember," he says, "the house is not evil. It only remembers too much." Eleanor takes a deep breath. For the final time, she rings the bell. The sound is pure, endless. It fills the halls, rolls across the moors like the world's first and last church. The portraits sigh. The wind dies. And then, silence. Ambrose blinks. The air is clean, the stench of rot gone. Golden light streams through the roof. Ravenshire stands still. He turns to Eleanor, but she's gone. Where she stood, the bell rests on the floor, dull, faded. Ambrose lifts it, whispering her name. No answer. From deep in the earth, a faint echo. A woman's voice, soft, calm, eternal. "Rest, now." The house remembers. He closes his eyes. For the first time in decades, the manor's heartbeat stills. Outside, the fog lifts. The moors shine under the sun, quiet and whole. Ravens fly from the spire, vanishing into the horizon. And somewhere beyond the veil of time, the bells of Ravenshire ring once more. Not in sorrow, but in peace. What an incredible and haunting story, right? It makes you wonder what secrets old houses might hold. If you enjoyed this journey into Ravenshire Manor, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.